Talk 1580 exclusive. The tape. 1 year later.
Y'all were coming for us.
Yeah, but Tavis, that's not in my heart. I wasn't coming for anyone like that. I apologize, but that was not me. That's not in my heart. And like I said a few moments ago, I have a solid, demonstrable record of shared power that's real and concrete. That can't be misinterpreted.
Join Tavis Smiley and an all-star panel of political insiders, influencers, and journalists for a look back at the crisis that shook LA City Hall when 4 Latino leaders were caught on tape making racist, demeaning, and derogatory statements about black people and other fellow citizens on Monday, October 9th, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. The tape, 1 year later. We're broadcast live in afternoon drive from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. When all was said and done, was more said than done. 1 year later, are there fractures in LA's black-brown political partnership? And where do we go from here? Don't miss The Tape, 1 year later. Only on KBLA Talk 1580, Monday, October 9th, live from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. We've got a lot to talk about.
It is Areva Martin in real time, the Friday edition on a Thursday, because Areva will be in tomorrow with a show about the breaking news of today, the latest in the Mark Ridley Thomas case, with him apparently going to be granted his request to be on bail pending appeal. Can't wait to hear that show tomorrow. So we're here with you today, and I am with Danny Griffin, educator, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker. We'll get to our conversation about the NBA and the latest trades in the NBA, in addition to a Dodgers playoff preview, right after we get you caught up on the day's news. So, Rep. Jim Jordan said today that he has spoken about his bid to be the next speaker with Donald Trump, and that he would not support removing Rep. Matt Gaetz from the Republican caucus, even amid anger by some lawmakers after he led Kevin McCarthy's removal. Asked whether one member should be able to make a motion to remove a speaker, the rule that was used to get McCarthy out of the leadership role in a historic vote this week, Jordan said he would go along with whatever the Republican caucus wanted. Imaza Gibson alleges a record deal promised to her by singer Jason Derulo came with strings and struggles she'd never experienced before, including aggressive behavior, unwanted invitations, implications that she'd have to have sex with him to advance, and fear for her safety. In a lawsuit filed today in Los Angeles County Superior Court, Gibson alleges that 34-year-old Derulo turned cold after she rejected his sexual advances and repeated invitations to dine and drink alcohol, and that he eventually dropped her deal altogether. She accuses Derulo of quid pro quo sexual harassment. Last month shattered the record for the hottest September on record by such a wide margin that climate scientists say it was almost beyond belief. The September milestone, reported in new data released late Wednesday by the European Union's Copernicus Climate Change Service, added to an alarming stretch of record-breaking global temperatures during June, July, and August. The planet had its hottest summer on record by a large margin. September's temperatures have climate scientists even more stunned. Average surface air temperatures last month were almost a degree Fahrenheit hotter than September of 2020, which had been the previous warmest September on record. And they say that normally when you're beating a record, it's by hundredths of a degree. So for it to go up by an entire degree, to beat the previous record by an entire degree, is a very big deal, almost unbelievable. Let's see. A 62-year-old man officiating a wedding in Nebraska has been charged after he fired a blank round to rally up guests and ended up injuring his 12-year-old grandson over the weekend. Michael Gardner tried to corral the guests by firing a blank round from a Pieta 1860 snub-nosed revolver into the air. When he decided to cock back the hammer of his revolver, it slipped, and it shot his grandson in the left shoulder, causing an injury. He's turned himself into authorities, and he was lodged on the charge of child abuse for neglectfully firing a firearm and injuring someone. A federal court has picked Alabama's new congressional map, which will likely result in an additional black and Democratic member in the delegation. The new map came after the same panel of federal judges twice found that lines drawn by the GOP-dominated legislature likely violated the Voting Rights Act by weakening the power of black voters. The new lines will be used for at least the 2024 elections, although Alabama Republicans have vowed to fight them for future cycles. The new map gives greater electoral power to black residents who make up about 1/4 of Alabama's population. And it will very likely mean Republicans lose one seat in their already very thin majority, imperiling their already tenuous hold on the House of Representatives. That's even before battleground districts come into play. Cornel West is leaving the Green Party and will continue his bid for the White House as an independent candidate. West, who is an outspoken progressive and longtime university scholar, has ruffled feathers among Democrats who view him as a potential spoiler for President Joe Biden's re-election chances. West has batted back the idea he might pull support from Biden in multiple interviews, saying the Biden campaign is free to court the voters flocking to him. West is a former Senator Bernie Sanders surrogate, and he first entered the race on the People's Party ticket, but that party's lack of ballot access soon compelled him to run for the Green Party's nomination instead, but now he's broken up with the Green Party too. The campaign declined to elaborate further on the decision to leave beyond wanting to be more focused on voters than intra-party dynamics. Without the Green Party's support, West's campaign will have to navigate getting his name on the ballot. And lastly, the Baltimore Police Department published surveillance footage showing a group of people walking in a grassy area of Morgan State University's campus. From the video, it's difficult to determine whether they are armed. However, the authorities are certain there was more than one shooter. That's new today because last night they didn't know anything. Worley said the shooting seemed to be the result of an argument between two groups of people. The presumed target of the shooting was not hit. Rather, the 4 men and 1 woman who were injured were caught in the crossfire. As far as campus activities, the university canceled most of the homecoming events scheduled for this week, with the exception of the football game, and I think the football game's been canceled now too. Sad. When we come forward, we're going to talk with Danny Griffin, educator, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker, about the Damian Lillard trade. And Damian Lillard has also filed for divorce from his wife. Sad situation. They've been together since college, about 10 years, 10 or 12 years. So we'll talk about Damian Lillard and how that trade might impact the Lakers. And also this hour, we're going to do a Dodgers playoff preview, and KBLA sports reporter Ray Richardson will be joining us shortly as well. We'll get right to it right when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, did you know Vistaprint prints everything a small business needs? Like if a barbershop needs signage, we print outdoor signs, posters, and banners. Or if a ballet school needs merch,
1, 2,
we print tote bags, t-shirts, hoodies, hats. Or if a coffee shop needs a total refresh,
latte for Mike?
Vistaprint designs logos and prints it on menus, mugs, paper bags, anything. Because with Vistaprint, the printabilities are endless. Print it all with 25% off for new customers with code NEW25 at Vistaprint.com.
She's so smooth, so... I'm interrupting my own shower to remind you to treat your skin like the queen she is with Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, packed with Olay's highest level of vitamin B3 complex. It's so moisturizing that it will give you visibly smoother, head-turning skin in just 14 days. People wondering, how'd she get so smooth? Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash. Also, try Olay Hyaluronic Body Lotion.
Is your eyesight changing?
I can't read this anymore.
Don't lose hope. People just like you are working every day using Braille, screen magnification, speech technology, and other tools and blindness skills. Your eyesight may have changed, but your goals, they don't have to. We can help. Visit us on the web at blind.org. The National Federation of the Blind. Live the life you want.
Now. We tend not to think about now. We dream about tomorrow, relive yesterday. But right now in front of us is victory over cancer. Right now, cancer research funded by the V Foundation is leading to better treatments and saving lives. Victory over cancer is there for the taking. by you, because today's cancer research is tomorrow's victory. Learn more at v.org.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
Anyone can choose to make a difference. You can help people succeed, rebuild after disasters, protect the environment, or feed the hungry. Not only will you make a difference for others, but for yourself. You can earn money for college, learn career skills, and make friendships that last a lifetime. Make a difference. Choose your future. Choose America.
There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
And it is the Friday edition on a Thursday. Avi Bernard here in for Areva Martin today. And I'm joined by educator, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker Danny Griffin. And we are going to be talking about the Damian Lillard trade. And now that he has filed for divorce from his wife, maybe just a conversation about what it's like to Danny, you were a college hooper and a college coach on very high level programs. You know, you've worked with a lot of NBA guys, and what must it be like to be in the NBA, to have all the money in the world, to have access to women wherever you go, and to try to be in a relationship. And this is a relationship that Damian Lillard has been in since college, and they got married 2 years ago. See, that might have been the problem, getting married, because the relationship was probably fine until they got married. I'm just joking, but it's sad though. It's sad they have 3 kids together. But I don't know, have you in all your time in basketball, Danny, did you ever have any conversations with anyone about about that dynamic, about trying to turn down all the gold diggers you're going to meet on the road and that kind of thing?
Of course. I mean, it's part of the dynamic, and I just think anytime you're successful, you're going to have people gravitate to you, whether it be the medical school on campus or the basketball arena. Whatever it is, it's just, people just love to be around success. How you handle it is very important.
Well, the basketball, the people reaching out to you because you're a success in basketball is going to be a lot more. It's going to be
unless you're at Duke or Stanford or MIT.
It's much more visible.
Yeah, it is more visible.
If they see you hitting game-winning shots on TV in the Big Ten tournament or whatever school you're at.
Yeah.
Then
I'm just trying to go down the middle because I don't want to add fuel to the fire and glamorize it, and that's what the guys want to hear, and guys live for that. And you're actually training. Some guys actually train to be a part of that, believe it or not, to actually reap the reward, so to speak. Mm-hmm. But as you get older and your maturation progresses, you understand that family is everything, your foundation. Your friends, your community, and, and your religion, whatever belief that is. You see things are more important. And then you are the number one thing is your health. And I think as guys get older, we see a lot of people that have not, longer with us. We see health is the new wealth, all day, the group text that I'm on, we just been talking about Alfonso Ribeiro being on Tamron Hall the other day, talking about refined sugar and processed foods, and that's the going thing on my group text today. Not money, not anything other than that. Like we say, health is the new wealth. So that's what I'm trying to promote to the young athletes: is just be healthy mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Because anything else that you seek, how you get it is how you're gonna lose it. And you got to be careful what bait you put out there when you go fishing. That's what I try to teach them. And I just give them examples of ex-athletes that have gone by the wayside. And then I let them talk to people. And it's just not from a male perspective. Sometimes you need to heal from a woman's perspective too. Because a lot of our women out here are very established. And a lot of men sometimes are intimidated by successful women. So a lot of these guys gravitate to people that they hold one over. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have a stabilized relationship when that person is doing really well too. They have their own successes, and that's the thing. The thing is, I think a lot of times the media and people think it's always on a guy because of what he can do, and then you find out that he doesn't know much, and he's not good with his money. He's not good in a lot of other areas besides his athletic prowess, and then you find out he seeks women that don't empower you or make you better. And that's why I say you go after somebody not for who they are or what they have, but, it's like the person that they are, right? Because if you get somebody that stabilizes you, empowers you, and completes you, that's what you need to do.
Sure, yeah, and that's what the people who are coming after you because of your basketball prowess are going to want. They're not gonna be into you because of your personality. They're gonna be into you because you can hit threes from anywhere on the court.
Instagram don't help either, though.
It does not.
Those pictures
it does
and all
not
that stuff,
help.
yeah.
So, what are your thoughts about someone who and Damian Lillard went to a very small school, Weber State.
Yeah, Weber State.
So
Big Sky School.
So maybe not just talking about him in particular, but what do you think about the dynamics of someone who is especially someone who is projected to be like a high first round pick or a lottery pick, going into the NBA already in like a marriage or at least a serious relationship with someone that they plan on marrying? Do you think it's difficult to be that young? Because I've always thought it's difficult to get married that young. And not, be fully developed as an adult. Your mind isn't even fully developed until you're 25. You haven't experienced life. And so what do you think about, anyone really, but especially star athletes settling down with a partner at a young age, maybe when they're in college or directly after college? Do you think that is, in your opinion, is that beneficial? Is that harder? Does that not give them a chance to experience life the way that they might want to? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thing is, it just depends on your culture, how you was raised, your upbringing, because regardless of what you can do athletically, that has nothing to do with what you're ready for, right? Because we look at Grant Hill, right? He's around my age, and you just saw the stable household that he had at the time with his mother, rest in peace, and his dad. People don't understand how his dad was a great athlete, but the mother was just phenomenal. Her cachet and what she was able to bring to the table. So you got to understand, some people grow up in households like that, and they're stable and ready. They're born ready. They've been around both parents, married couple. They've seen all the dynamics of it, how to do it. They learn on-the-job training by seeing mom and dad, right? So I think it's levels to this, there's layers to it. And then you have some young men and some young women who grew up in different type of dynamics, and some may be a little dysfunctional here, and then one day you're functional, one day you're dysfunctional, and you see mom struggling and dad struggling, and then you go out and do things early, and you're not prepared for that because moms wasn't able to be that part in your life because she was working, and you might have been latchkey, or you might have been latchkey practice. A lot of kids spend time with their teams in high school till 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. By the time you come home, the interaction between parents is very limited. You may have an hour, less than 2, of mom even raising you. The main time that parents have is on the weekend with their kids a lot of times because they're at work, you're at school. Mm-hmm. So if you're an athlete, that's why choosing a coach to play for the right coach is very important, and the right assistant coaches, because they're going to be part of your life and maturation. So if you have a coach that's kind of promiscuous, or he's not a family man, or he doesn't live kind of righteous, then you're going to see bad examples because you already have it on social media and TV. You got to align yourself with examples. So I think ultimately you can be married at 21, 22. You see a lot of times in Utah. A lot of those programs in Utah, those guys are married.
Utah is like a different country.
I understand that, but they go on their missions and they're married at 21, 22. You have a lot of married couples in college. I saw it when I was at University of UConn, and they're striving and they make it. So the money, that's just projection. Just because you're projected to make something and get something don't mean you're going to be able to keep it. You're either fighting to get it or fighting to keep it.
Well, it doesn't mean you're going to keep it, but the point is when you're someone who's in a position, who is in a position to be in the public eye and who's going to have an opportunity to, to date any number of people. And is that more difficult? Is it more difficult to settle down with someone when you haven't gone through that life, especially if you have any inclination that maybe you want to, and then you settle down with someone and then you don't really get to experience life like that? I mean,
prematurely, yeah.
Yeah, so
I've seen it. I seen it, and I kind of went through that in college. So I understand. Now that's serious. If you're not prepared, then my recommendation is you have to find out what type of individual you are, what you can handle. This is not something as I can say generally, because we're all different. We all have different dynamics and personalities, and we all view life different. It's about perspectives. So if you have a certain perspective that I don't want to be tied down and I want to go through some things, if you put yourself out there to go through some things, everything's not going to be hunky-dory. Everything's not going to be on an up and up. You're going to go through the downs and ups. So if it's a kid that might be unstable mentally and overly emotional, then you might not recommend that, right? Because he may be like, oh, this girl left me, this girl this. I mean, it's people out there that are ruthless. All is fair in love and war, right? That's what they say. So you got to be prepared for this. So I don't just recommend. I'm not going to go out there as a mentor and say, don't get married early or don't settle down early, because if you do, it's better to experience things. And I find out this kid is not prepared to go through life's ups and downs and challenges, and I find out he's a little bit attached. He wants to follow the girl around the club all night, or he wants to be attached to somebody he just met. Now it's his wife, and now I find out he's over aggressive. He's a stalker. He has some issues, but I gave him the wrong advice because I didn't vet the kid. That's why you got to be careful giving advice to people that you don't even know. Just because we're older don't mean we know everything. You got to stop talking to people when you don't know people. You know what I mean? You got to vet the individual before you mentor them. And I think a lot of coaches do that and make that mistake. I used to make that mistake a lot. And then I was trained by some older coaches. They say, listen, man, you got to stop talking to these kids until you know these kids. You don't know their backgrounds. Just because you coach them don't mean you know them. So once you know the individual, then you can mentor them kind of in a way that fits their personality, because you can't control people. That's their life, and all you can do is be a beacon of light and handle your business and kind of guide them with the proper moral aspects and integrity. Give them the foundation, then it's up to them to choose what path. But me personally, I don't think a lot of boys and young men in college are prepared for serious relationships. Yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, that's
the ones that I've come across, absolutely not.
I think it's very rare where someone is emotionally mature enough to get married at 21 and not really have anything and not have a rocky marriage without having experienced life and really just knowing what it is to be an adult on your own. That's something that I've always believed, but maybe that didn't play a factor in Damian Lillard and his wife. Now on the verge of divorce, but wish them both the best, obviously. And now let's talk about the trade itself, the Damian Lillard trade itself. So Damian Lillard, he, after his entire career spent in Portland with the Trailblazers, he wanted the trade. Finally requested a trade. He wanted to go to Miami. That was the only team on his list, the Miami Heat. And the trade didn't happen right away, and a lot of NBA experts said if it didn't happen yet, it's probably not going to happen, because if the Heat could have made it happen, they would have made this happen immediately. And so maybe the Heat didn't have a trade package that was appealing enough to the Blazers. And so this week, Damian Lillard gets traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, and he is now paired with Giannis Antetokounmpo, arguably the best duo in the NBA now. Arguably, it's definitely up there with one of them, if not the best duo. And so the Blazers receive, the Bucks just get Damian Lillard. The Blazers receive in return Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, Toumani Camara, and the Bucks 2029 first round pick, which is unprotected, and swap pick rights in 2028 and 2030. So essentially 3 first round picks. And then they turn around and trade Drew Holiday to the Celtics. And if you know me, you heard me on this show, the last thing I want is for the Celtics to win.
Just like an LA person.
That is the last thing I ever want to see, is them get better or win. That is not what I want, and that is what happened. They've got better with this trade. So they the Celtics got Drew Holiday, and the Blazers got in exchange Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams III, and a 2024 first-round pick that the Celtics acquired from the Warriors in a previous trade. And also, 2029 first round pick. So just we're gonna, on the other side, we're gonna talk about, we're coming up against a news, traffic, and sports update. But on the other side, Danny, I want to talk about this trade and how it impacts the balance of power in the NBA, because now you have the Bucks, who, you know, and Giannis has been saying, if we're not contending for a title, I'm out. And the Bucks said, okay, well, we're contending here. Look, we'll go get Damian Lillard. And so I want to get your thoughts on whether that made them better, because Drew Holiday, who they lost in that trade, is one of the best defenders in the league, in addition to a viable scorer. So, and they also gave up some other depth. So, and some picks, but they're not worried about long term. They're worried about winning a championship next year. So I want to ask you, when we come forward, Danny, was that a good trade for the Bucks, and did they get better? And also, with the Celtics then turning around and getting Drew Holiday after that trade, what that does for the Eastern Conference title chances for both of those teams, and whether the Lakers roster as currently constructed can compete with those two teams in a 7-game series. That's a good question, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say as our resident basketball expert. We'll get into that conversation right after this news, traffic, and sports update, in addition to the Dodgers playoff preview, right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Areva time is the right time. More of Areva Martin in real time when we come forward.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. The U.S. has lost more workdays to labor disputes than any full year since 2000 through the month of August. Emboldened by public support and the tight labor market, unions are flexing their power to demand higher pay. The United Auto Workers strike is heading into its 21st day, while the actors' strike is approaching its 85th day. The number of jobless claims in the U.S. is up slightly. The Labor Department says the number of Americans filing for unemployment claims increased by 2,000 on the week ending September 30th, up to 207,000. The new Justice Center in downtown Kalamazoo, Michigan will bear a historic black name. The Kalamazoo County Commissioners voted Tuesday night to name the Justice Center after Judge Charles Pratt. Pratt was the county's first black judge. Have a great Thursday, and that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
A SIG alert from earlier this afternoon in Sunland remains blocking two right lanes involving a car that went over the side of the 210 West before Sunland Avenue. Tow crews are on the scene in retrieval mode, but stop traffic continues from Las Crescenta Avenue up to an hour. A SIG alert crash in Pomona continues to block the 71 North connector back on the 60 West, and crews are still cleaning up the fuel spill in the area, closing the off-ramp with no estimated time of reopening at Rio Rancho Road on the 71 North. There's also a separate accident on the 60 East before Highway 71 Gary Avenue interchange with a 20-minute traffic jam from the 57.
Wendy's new Pumpkin Spice Frosty is peak fall. It'll make any kind of fall fun even fallier. So no matter how you fall, grab a rich, creamy Pumpkin Spice Frosty from Wendy's today. Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Vanilla Frosty is temporarily unavailable.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Sad situation at Morgan State University, one of our prominent HBCUs. Morgan State, located in Baltimore, canceled its homecoming football game scheduled for Saturday against Stony Brook College. Morgan State President David Wilson made the announcement in the aftermath of the shooting Tuesday night on campus. 5 people were injured, including 4 Morgan State students. All 5 victims are expected to recover. The incident happened at a homecoming event. Baltimore police said the injured students were not the intended targets. A dispute between 2 groups at the event led to the gunfire. Beyond the football game, Morgan State might have a much bigger problem. On Wednesday, students were seen leaving the campus carrying duffel bags and suitcases as if they weren't coming back. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
On Monday, October 9th, don't miss the KBLA Talk 1580 exclusive. The tape. 1 year later.
Y'all were coming for us. Yeah, but Tavis, that's not in my heart. I wasn't coming for anyone like that. I apologize, but that was not me. That's not in my heart. And like I said a few moments ago, I have a solid, demonstrable record of shared power that's real and concrete. That can't be misinterpreted.
Join Tavis Smiley and an all-star panel of political insiders, influencers, and journalists for a look back at the crisis that shook LA City Hall when 4 Latino leaders were caught on tape making racist, demeaning, and derogatory statements about black people and other fellow citizens on Monday, October 9th, exclusively on KBLA Talk 1580. The tape, 1 year later. We'll broadcast live an afternoon drive from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. When all was said and done, was more said than done. 1 year later, are there fractures in LA's black-brown political partnership? And where do we go from here? Don't miss The Tape, 1 year later. Only on KBLA Talk 1580, Monday, October 9th, live from 5 to 7 p.m. with an immediate encore presentation from 7 to 9 p.m. We've got a lot to talk about.
Have you heard about Lendistry? Lendistry is a national black-led small business lender that is headquartered right here in LA. Once you've started your business, Lendistry provides flexible financing options starting at $50,000 to help you access the affordable capital needed to grow. Whether financing is needed to increase working capital, acquire a business, purchase inventory and equipment, or refinance debt, Lendistry has a solution for you. Lending products range from traditional business term loans and non-revolving lines of credit to SBA 7A loans and commercial real estate financing. Lendistry's pre-application process is simple and does not impact your credit score. Visit lendistry.com/KBLA to learn more and to get started with an application right from the website.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
And it is the Friday edition on a Thursday of Areva Martin in Real Time. Avi Bernard here with you in for Areva Martin today, joined by Danny Griffin, educator, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker. So we're talking about the Damian Lillard trade and how it affects the balance of power in the NBA. If you want to get in on this conversation, 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. And, of course, we are also joined by no debates, no speculation, just the info you need, Ray Richardson, KBLA sports reporter. Welcome, my brother Ray.
Hey, how you doing, Javi? And say hello to Danny for me, too.
Absolutely. He can hear you right here. So I appreciate you joining us, Ray. I want to start with you on this one. We're still talking about this trade, and I wanted to get your thoughts on how this Damian Lillard and then subsequent Drew Holiday trades, they obviously have shifted the balance of power in the Eastern Conference. And so how do you think the Bucks and the Celtics would how do you think they came out in their deals, and who do you think out of them two you would favor in a 7-game series at this point?
Wow, that's a good question. Everybody's talking about those two teams as the front runners in the East for sure. There was speculation right after the trade for Lillard was completed that Drew Holiday would not stay in Portland, mainly because Portland was already letting people know that they were rebuilding. They wanted to get younger and start over. And Drew Holiday, being a 13-year veteran, he would not fit in with that group too well. So that, there was already discussion about him moving on. As far as landing with the Boston Celtics, that could not be a more perfect destination for him. That's an ideal team for him to join. Man, perfect situation for him. That's a veteran team. He fits right in with that group. They already were loaded, with veteran talent and a good chemistry there. You couldn't ask for a better addition to that roster than Drew Holiday. If it comes down to Milwaukee and Boston, that will be a monumental series. Milwaukee by no means is not And I repeat that they are not the clear-cut favorite to win the East. I mean, they're going to be there, but it is not their title to win or lose. They're going to have to earn it. They're going to have to really play well together. And I really think Boston may be a little bit better prepared for that than Milwaukee right now.
Interesting, yeah, because both of those teams have been, obviously the Bucks won a title within the last couple of years, and then the Celtics have been in the Eastern Conference Finals just about every year the past three, however many years. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals, it seems, every year. So who do you think, who would you pick in a 7-game series at this point?
Right now, I would have to lean toward Boston a little bit. Their roster is already designed for a potential run for a title, and you add a player like Jrue Holiday in the backcourt with his experience, and he's not a guy that demands the ball a lot. He doesn't, want to put in his contract, I need to get this many shots per game. He's not that kind of guy, and he also will play some defense for you as well. Him and Jaylen Brown in the backcourt together, and you've got Jason Tatum up front on the wing. And they added Christian Porzingis, too, and you've got another scorer up front who can score on the perimeter as well. That roster is very, very solid, and it would be hard to pick against them. Of course, they got to stay healthy like everybody, but if they're healthy going into that series against Milwaukee, if it winds up those two in the finals in the East, I would have to lean a little bit toward Boston. And no shade on Damian Lillard, but we really haven't seen Lillard in a real pressure-type situation much. We still need to figure out, how will he function in the playoffs when games are on the line, seasons are on the line, titles are on the line, a lot. I don't think he's been through enough of those situations yet. Can he adjust to it? I think so, but man, you got to just see a little bit more of him in those kind of situations.
Well, he has hit game-winning shots in the playoffs, and he has been in big series and eliminated Paul George and hit I think even a game-winning shot against the Lakers in the bubble, and they won that one game, and then they lost the other 4. And so, but he's always just kind of been the only one on his team and carried that team, and now he's on a team with another MVP, and he's never had that. So that's an exciting prospect. But Danny, what are your thoughts? Who's better right now out of the Celtics and the Bucks right now?
Well, you got to ask yourself, who has more weapons? Who needs to make more adjustments? Obviously, the Celtics have more talent, right? And the talent is younger. That might be a problem because now you're asking another veteran to come in there, not only to lead off the court, but on the court and in the locker room, right? And that was Marcus Smart, right?
He's gone.
That's
now.
like their dad, So you got to understand. Jrue Holiday's like a family man. He moves differently. He's from out here. Dad went, the Blair High School in Pasadena. It's a different thing. He's a family man. He takes care of business. Is it enough shots over there? This guy's a 19-point game scorer, a career over 15. So, I mean, is his point production going to go down to help the team? Because Jaylen Brown's getting shots. Derek White is a role player. Tatum needs shots. Horford is role. Porzingis, So, basically, you got all role players except for 2 superstars. And now you got another superstar coming in to balance the table. Where on the other side, everybody's role player. And Lillard and Giannis is coming in game busters. So I think Milwaukee is going to understand their role. I think the learning curve in Milwaukee is going to be way less than Boston. Way less because you have more mature guys. You have a mature guy coming in, right? The system, the culture. Let's not forget that the coach at Boston, he was an assistant. He's still – Joe
Mazzulla.
Yeah, he's still getting into that role.
And he made some very questionable decisions in the playoffs. And you have, who is it, Nick Nurse now, the coach of the Bucks, who won a title with the or did he go? No, he went to the Sixers.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. So regardless of him being the head coach, the players know that's our assistant. Regardless. It takes years. That's our assistant coach.
Well, let me ask you guys though. Let me ask you, Ray. How do you think the Lakers would fare against either of these teams? And this is obviously we're looking way into the the depths of the future here. We're way down into the rabbit hole of hypothetical situations. But we the Lakers do have a really good team they put together. They finished the season very strong last year, second place in the Western Conference runner-up, and they made some key moves in the offseason that I think made them a lot better. How would you put the Lakers' chances against one of those teams in the finals, Ray?
Well, the Lakers could be a pretty good challenge for both of them, but whether they're going to be able to play them in the playoffs, we don't know. You still got the Denver Nuggets as a defending champion,
right,
and they've got to figure out a way to get past them. And there's at least 2 or 3 other teams out here in the West that are going to really be able to say, hey, we can challenge Denver as well. Look at Phoenix, Golden State. I wouldn't count those 2 teams out just yet, and Sacramento's on the rise. It will not be an easy path for the Lakers to get out of the West. But I will say this, Darvin Ham will have a much easier time coaching this team than he did last year.
Oh, yeah.
His roster is already set. He knows what he's working with. There will be no midseason or early season struggles in terms of trying to piece this roster together. He already knows what he's got to work with going into the season. He should have a really enjoyable time implementing his system with this group because it's a veteran group. They did draft some players, in the draft, and these young guys are going to be coming off the bench. But his nucleus are veteran guys. I mean, he's got like his first 8 or 9 guys will be all vets, and that's what you want in your rotation. You want a rotation where you don't have to teach as much. Darvin had to teach a lot last year and had to reshape some things. He had to retool his game plan a lot. He won't have to do that this year. That's going to make the Lakers a much more formidable team. They'll be in sync pretty early, and I'm looking forward to seeing these guys get off to a good start. Mark your calendars on this. Game 1
against the Nuggets.
Game 1, Lakers and Nuggets for opening game season opener. That's going to have a lot of intensity and a lot of drama behind it. Do not miss that game because this is already some undercurrent trash talking going on between both sides. Neither team can wait to get back on the court against each other. That will be a humongous opener, and that's going to tell you a lot about both teams this year.
I will not be missing that game at all. Before we move on to the Dodgers, Danny, what are your thoughts about how the Lakers would fare against the newly structured Bucks and Celtics?
I think they match up better against the Bucks.
Okay.
Just older legs.
Okay.
I think the young guys, by the time you get that deep in in the playoffs, in the finals, age starts to catch up to you, injuries. You try to mask it with, load management, whatever they're doing, to get the guys ready. And then you hit the fan in June, and, Celtics are chasing those guys all over the place. Tatum is probably the most skilled wing in the NBA besides Durant. This dude got a repertoire, don't he?
He does.
He's pretty good.
He does.
I've seen a lot of dudes play.
He can score from anywhere.
Like a bias, Kobe, he got a lot of stuff in with him. You know what I'm saying? So chasing a guy like that, then you got Jaylen Brown. If he shows up and plays, and then Drew Holiday, they got a lot of dudes. You don't want to chase them dudes. I'd rather play against Giannis.
Jaylen Brown is one of them sometime dudes, though. He might have 7 turnovers trying to dribble with his left hand.
Well, he going to give out some toys that night, though, too. That's what I like about him. He good for the community.
And shout out to Howard Graves watching us on YouTube. Howard Graves, I love you and I appreciate you, but how dare you bring the Indiana Pacers into this conversation? They do not belong anywhere. Wow. They do not. He didn't say anything about them being able to compete. He just wanted to give them a shout out, but still, the Indiana Pacers are they did get Bruce Brown, but they got a long way to go before they're anywhere in the conversation of formidable teams. But shout out to Howard for all being a loyal listener and watching us on the stream on YouTube. So when we come forward, we're going to talk about the Dodgers, and their first game is this Saturday against the Diamondbacks. Clayton Kershaw will be starting that game. His shoulder has been less than 100%. He's been struggling, but struggling with his health, but still putting together some very good starts, even though they've been shorter. And they've got a good chance in this series. But we'll talk about the Dodgers in depth, their playoff preview next, right here on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's the real deal in real time. You're listening to Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here with a quick recap for my time at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. There were speakers Ian Dunlap, Damon John, Lynn Richardson, MC Light, Don Kennedy, to name a few. Take a listen to what Justin Grant, Community Development Lead at Chase's Advancing Black Pathway, let's see what he had to say.
So I'm Justin Grant. I lead community development and national partnerships for JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Pathway strategy. And so we're focused on strengthening the economic foundation of black communities, and we're making targeted investments in programs like the Advancing Black Wealth Tour to help us get our tools and resources out to the community to drive sustained impact over time.
So when it comes to black and brown people, it sounds like Chase is making it their personal responsibility not only to facilitate these events, but to educate and provide resources. So, Mr. Grant, I have to ask, what does wealth building look like for the individual?
It's home ownership, it's having that freedom to be able to start your own business and create jobs in your community, and it's having that long-term plan towards retirement, having that vision for what you want your life to be, and you have the resources to actually live it.
I'm Maisha Cairo. Thanks for sticking around. That was my recap from Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. First stop was here in LA, and they're taking it national.
In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, children are the future. Here, tobacco companies are committed to higher education, offering scholarships to students who submit essays about the benefits of vaping. The tobacco industry even sponsors summer camps for kids. Don't worry, the tobacco-sponsored programs have been linked to leaving your kids more interested in smoking. In Big Tobacco's Fantasyland, the world's deadliest industry is your child's friend.
See reality at undo.org.
Only 1 in 5 people with autism are employed, despite many having the skill set and desire to work.
Maybe it's because employers don't know what kind of jobs they can do. Like, what about a programmer?
That's a job for someone with autism.
How about a healthcare worker?
Yep, that is too. People with autism can do a lot of different jobs, but often get overlooked due to outdated stigmas. Introducing WIN by Autism Speaks. We help businesses lead the way in inclusive hiring.
What about a ranch hand?
To learn more, go to autismspeaks.org/win.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take. And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan. Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
There's no time like the present. Let's get back to more of Areva Martin in real time on KBLA Talk 1580.
And it's Avi Bernard here with you on the Friday edition of Areva Martin in Real Time on a Thursday this week, because there is important business to get to tomorrow. Areva is going to be talking about the latest in the Mark Ridley Thomas case, and can't wait to hear that tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific. We're joined by Ray Richardson, KBLA sports reporter, and Danny Griffin, educator, entrepreneur, and motivational speaker. The Dodgers' Game 1 of the National League Division Series is Saturday at 6:20 p.m. It's the last game of the day. And the Dodgers are into this round via a first-round bye. They were able to secure one of the top 2 seeds in the National League, the second seed, which gave them access to the second round. And they're playing, in my opinion, a team, a favorable matchup, a team that they've beaten 8 out of 13 times this year, 8-5 against the Diamondbacks, including I think winning the last 5, perhaps. They won. They definitely won. They swept the Diamondbacks in a recent series. But the Dodgers, their pitching staff is nowhere near what it has been in previous years and in previous playoff runs. They have 2 starters, like maybe 1.5, because Clayton Kershaw can't really go as deep as he normally would. His pitch count is much more limited. His shoulder is not 100%. And you have a rookie, Bobby Miller, who has had some good starts, but he's still quite an unknown, and how he'll respond in October. So, Ray, I wanted to get your assessment on the Dodgers versus Diamondback series that starts this Saturday.
You brought up some key points about their pitching. That's going to be the main question mark for the Dodgers. They've had a wonderful season offensively. I mean, they've got 5 guys who have hit 20 or more home runs. Scoring runs is not going to be a problem for them. But Dave Robertson's had to really make some major adjustments with his pitching. I mean, you look at where they are right now. They won 100 games despite losing 2 pitchers out of their rotation, 2 starters. Julio Reyes and then Tony Gonsolin to an injury, Julio to some domestic issues. It's tough to overcome that, but the Dodgers did it. Now, can they maintain their level of performance in the postseason? That's going to be a question. And they're going up against a team that's got some momentum. Dodgers haven't played in over a week, so they've got to figure out a way to get their momentum back in a hurry. On Saturday, Arizona is going to be an energetic, charged up team. They went into Tampa Bay and won both of those games, and they did it with some pretty good, effective relief pitching.
Oh, into Milwaukee. Into Milwaukee, I think you mean.
I'm sorry, Milwaukee. They went to Milwaukee and went in there. I'm thinking about Texas.
Right.
They went to Milwaukee, and their bullpen didn't give up a run in neither one of those games. I mean, their bullpen pitched 9 innings, and they shut those guys down. So Dodgers got something to be thinking about if their offense struggles, for some reason. And we all know it is tough to maintain a strong regular season play in the postseason. It's hard to bring that over. You've got to make sure you still play like you did in the regular season, but that's tough. So the Dodgers are favored, but man, I don't. It's not a easy conclusion that they're going to win this series. They're going to have to earn it.
Oh, not at all. It's far from a foregone conclusion, and the Dodgers, they did win 100 games, and they actually lost 3 starters. They lost Dustin May as well earlier in the year.
Oh, yeah,
it was much earlier, and so if you look at their normal top 5 pitchers, if you include Walker Buehler in there, he's been out for this whole season because he got hurt last year, and he had to have his second Tommy John surgery. He was going to try to come back and be ready for the playoffs, but he wasn't able to do it. So you're talking about Walker Buehler, Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, and Julio Urias, 4 of your best 5 pitchers not with you for a playoff run. So, So, Danny, your thoughts on the Dodgers' upcoming series against the Diamondbacks?
You just said it, Avi and Ray. I mean, if you're missing how many pitchers? 4? The bullpen has been decimated, and you win 100 games in 162, right? And you on a 16 games ahead of the Diamondbacks. So
they won 16 more games.
So you got to understand that this team has a cachet. It's a winning pedigree. This is the Dodgers, man. You're not playing for another team. You're playing for the L.A. So you got to understand. I understand how in baseball, postseason is a whole other thing. It's a big difference. Unlike other sports, it's a huge
baseball
difference.
is the hardest sport to predict.
Yes,
what's going to happen
hard
in the postseason.
But it's one thing that you can't change is pedigree and the heart of a champion. So what you got to understand is that we have a great manager, we have a great tradition, and we have some of the best players in MLB on the team still. Our offense, we just got to play offense and not put that much pressure on the bullpen, right? We got to score some runs, man.
Got to
stay
ahead. Got to stay ahead.
Because if not, it's might be I don't want to say it because I live in L.A.
Well, you never
so
know,
I gotta
man.
Be able to travel, baby.
The Dodgers and big fans like myself have lived through many a heartache at the hands of Dodgers postseason collapses, and to your point, Danny and Ray, they have 4 players with over 100 RBIs in their lineup.
That's huge.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
And so they've got a good chance, but they got to score runs. Ray, what would your prediction be for this round?
Well, I think it's going to help that the Dodgers do have home field advantage, but, that doesn't really mean a lot in baseball. But I think that's going to mean something for these guys here. I say the Dodgers can do it. I'm really just hoping that Dave Roberts has some good decisions in his pocket for this series because he might need it. He might need to come up with some things that he might not have planned for. And if he can manage those situations, and I hope he doesn't do what the manager from Toronto did, Snyder. If he's got a pitcher that's going good and your starters, you need to give that bullpen a break as best you can. Keep your starter in the game. Don't take your guy out in the 4th inning if he's going well.
Right.
Let these starters, go as long as they can because that bullpen needs as much of a break as possible. So if he doesn't have to put any pressure on his bullpen, if he can avoid that, I think they'll be fine. And I think if it comes down to whose bullpen is better, I can see the Dodgers winning that. But man, they've got to produce and perform, and they got to earn it. They're going to have to really play well to get past these guys.
So are you picking the Dodgers or are you picking the Diamondbacks?
I'm picking the Dodgers. I think they'll get it. I think they'll get it done.
How many games? It's the best out of 5. The first round is best out of 5 for everyone listening,
best
by the
of
way.
5. I can see this going 5. The way Arizona played against Milwaukee, I saw a couple of those games, and they look strong, and they're not intimidated at all. I know that the Dodgers beat up on them in the regular season, but Arizona, if anybody knows the Dodgers, it's these guys. So they're going to have pretty good scouting report on how to approach this series. It will not be an easy run for the Dodgers to get past these dudes.
What's your pick, Danny?
Come on, man, I gotta go home.
How many
Come
games?
on, what do you think? I'm in Orange County.
How many games?
Man, Dodgers winning this, man. They gonna get one game.
Okay.
Diamondbacks gonna win one game. That's it.
So you're predicting the same as me, Dodgers in 4.
Yeah, come on, man.
And so, if real quick, Ray, in 20 seconds, do the Dodgers win the World Series this year?
I don't think so.
All right, he only 2 seconds.
Atlanta's got a real. They got a championship team over there.
They got a really good team.
And Dodgers couldn't handle them.
They got a really good team.
I look at Atlanta right now as a favorite.
What about you, Danny? Dodgers winning the World Series this year?
Yes.
Okay. See, I can't even. I want them to win. Do I think they'll win? I don't think it's very likely.
Atlanta's hard, man.
Atlanta's tough, man. Yeah. Atlanta is very tough. Well, we're out of time for the day. Ray Richardson, always appreciate your perspective and expertise. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And Danny Griffin, thank you always for being here and spending the whole show with us. Really appreciate you.
Thank you. Had a phenomenal time today.
Coming up next is the Raw Report with Robin Ayers. Areva Martin will be in tomorrow with a update on the latest in Mark Ridley Thomas. So stick around for that, or come back for that, and stick around for the Ayers the Raw Report with Robin Ayers right now. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm Avi Bernard, and I am gone.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis with the latest from the Black Information Network. The man behind the mass shootings inside a crowded New York City subway train is sentenced to 10 life terms plus 10 years in prison. 64-year-old Frank James, who was black, set off smoke